Back again. I just got back from eating, so I'm no longer hungry. I went and got tacos. And I even brought my camera and recorded some of it. Make sure that the stream is up. Yep, looks like we're good. All right, yeah. So I'm back and I'm gonna edit. So yeah. Say words if you have them to say. And of course, I still have these, and we'll finish it off. I'm gonna cover back up because I don't want too much. I don't want too much moisture to leave. I want to be able to boil it off later. And given that I have another 20 minutes or so before this is gonna be done, I want to make sure I don't lose all that delicious bean gravy juice, whatever you want to call it. I don't want too much moisture to leave. I want to be able to boil it off later. And given that I have boil it off later, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab the. So as I said, it's gonna be half or not half. It's gonna be about a teaspoon of this. Half or not half. It's gonna be about a teaspoon of this, and maybe a teaspoon of this. This has white pepper in it, so it's got this. This has white pepper. A teaspoon of this. This teaspoon of this can be seasoned as well. So I'll go ahead and do that. Let me put this camera down. A teaspoon of this. About a teaspoon of this. Maybe and maybe this off later. And be about a teaspoon. I don't want too much moisture to leave. I want to be able to boil it off because I don't want too much because I don't back up. So I'm gonna cover back up because I don't want too much. I don't want too much moisture to leave. I want to be able to boil it off later. And be about a later. Be later. Be about a teaspoon of this. Later. It off. Leave. I want to be able to boil it. I don't want too much moisture to leave. I want this. Okay, this is just about done. This is just about done. I just gotta fish out the meat and put it in a bowl so it can cool off and I can pull off the pork. All right, so the ham hock is completely done. It's done. I just gotta fish out the This is just about done. I just gotta, all right, so all right, this is just about done. All right, so is complete, the ham hock is completely done. It's done. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the heat. The ham hock is completely done. It's done. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the heat on there, and I have both the ham hock and the pieces. I'm gonna fish out the ham hock and the pieces that fell off the bone, put it in that bowl so it can cool off. And once it is cool off, I'll pull off the meat, and basically split it apart. I'll chop it up with a knife actually. And then I'm gonna take the skin, bone, put it in that bowl so it can cool off. I'm gonna fish out the ham hock and the pieces that fell off the completely done. It's done. All right, I gotta fish out this. I gotta fish out this ham hock, and I'm fish out ham hock, and I'm trying ham out this ham hock, and I'm trying my best to, not get as many beans in here. I'm trying my best to ham hock, and I'm trying my best to, not get as many beans in here. I can put them back in any time. And that's so that I can begin to dry off. So I want to thicken up my beans. While that's going, I'm going to put half of these, or maybe not half, but while that's going, my beans stew, or whatever you want to call it. Dry out some of my food, begin to dry out some of this water here. So I want to thicken up so that I can, and that's so that I can not get as many beans in here. And that's so that I ham hock, and I'm trying my best to, not get as many beans in here. And that's so that I can begin to dry out some of this water here. So I want to thicken up my bean stew, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call it. So I'm gonna call it bean stew. I'm gonna just put it on low. Now, while that's ham hock, and I'm trying my best. Now, while that's going, I'm going to put half of these, or maybe not half, but about that much. Now, I'm going to have to boil this for a while to get all of the alcohol out. Now, I'm going to have to boil this for a while to get all of the alcohol out, which is why I'm doing it now. Oh man, it smells amazing, especially with that sherry. Oh my gosh. I want all these flavors to marry. Okay, so we are on we're on low heat, which I'm pretty sure I can see. I'm on low heat, and we're gonna put this top back on. You see, this is where all the water. Oh man, it smells amazing, especially with that sherry. Oh my gosh. We're gonna put this top back on. You see, this is where all the water was, and it's reduced. I want this to reduce by maybe another 10%. So this is gonna stay on for another 10 to 15 minutes or so. And at that time, this ham hock, this meat should be done. This meat should be done, or cooled off to the point where I can pull out the meat. Meat should be this ham hock. This meat should be done, or cooled off to the point where I can pull out the meat. this ham hock, this. I don't have any Virginia rice. I'm out. I did. It's it's not that special. Let's just. Oh, actually, I lied. I didn't run out of rice. This is the right rice. So, and then I'm gonna go the right rice. So I'm gonna do 2 scoops of this rice on top. Do two. Pull the skin off and just lay it on top. Do 2 scoops on top. I'm gonna do 2 scoops of this. So I'm gonna do 2 scoops on top. So I'm gonna do 2 scoops of this. This is regular Virginia rice. And then I'm gonna go and grab and then. So I'm gonna do. This is. So got my rice right here. This is jasmine rice. Just throw it in here.
What's up, guys? Yeah, I figured. Well, I mean, I needed to edit this video, so I was like, I may as well just turn on the stream since I'm gonna be editing this video until the plan is to get the rough cut done today. So, yeah.
Rinse off the rice. I'm gonna get a bowl as well. Rinse off the rice. Throw it in here. So I'm using cold water and I'm using cold water and I normally use a little whatever this is, sprinkle system. I don't know what you call it. And I'd like to agitate the rice. You see that there's all that white stuff in the sink, the starch. I'm agitating this to get all of that out. And once it runs clear is when I'm good. To put it in a bowl and fill it with water and then pour it out and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't got all that. I don't got time for all that out. And
Oh my gosh, this is 28 minutes. Oh, I must have skipped some sections and didn't realize it. Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, this should end up being under 10 minutes where I'm at. You plan on finishing the other video you started watching? I mean, I can. So I say it often. If people aren't saying anything, I assume no one cares. So no one was around. I think I was the only person watching myself. I mean, you may have been there. I only saw one viewer. And I happen to have my iPad on all the time. So when I see one viewer, I assume that I'm watching myself. And I already know what I think about things. So I don't feel the need to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, if you're here and some other folks wanna finish that video, I'm down. I don't mind. I imagine you're talking about the Chinese government bond ones. What's going on there?
cooking this relatively slow, so I don't want it to get too crunchy right now. And I think it's important to say, I'm not really trying to get it 100% crispy right now. Remember, I have this andouille sausage, which will also get put in here.
Look at that, all that. Okay, yeah. I can talk about it. I can talk about it. Give me a second.
So that I
Let me at least get this middle section that I thought I was done. So not this part, but all of this, which isn't much. Most of it is, I just kept the camera rolling. So it's a little longer than it needs to be.
so that these can also, get a little bit brown as well. So I want the Maillard reaction to happen here. So I
Just to show you how fast this is probably going to be. Look at that. Look at it. My take right now is I don't really care if these videos are great right now. They will improve over time.
How it's now starting to crisp up really, really good now that I put that oil in. So at this point, it's good to put the rest of the sausage in.
I can get rid of more.
Good to put at this.
So we'll just delete all that.
Render out most of the fat. I actually don't want this to get too crunchy. At this point, it's good to put the rest of the sausage in, so that these can also, get a little bit brown as well.
And look at that already. So I'm gonna just come into this stirring action, maybe right here.
Let it go a little bit longer. I just decided, I was thinking about it. I was like, All right, the bacon is crispy, and we got a little bit of browning.
That goes away. That goes away.
At this point, I'm gonna be lazy.
I want to say yeah, literally all of this can go too. So we'll do that.
The reason why I use a slotted spoon is the reason why I use a slotted spoon or in the pot. All right, the bacon is crisp. Here is the cooked bacon and brown sausage. Just set that off to the side. Dump these in. Bring the heat back up to medium low. What I'm doing now is I'm trying to deglaze the pan. I'm trying to deglaze the pan or the pot. There's some brown bits that develop from browning the meat, and all of the moisture in these peppers and onions and celery is going to help lift it out. I'm going to put a little bit of salt, like a small amount, like this amount. I'm only putting salt in here to draw out moisture. I'm not doing it to season anything. The reason for that is you add in salty sauces, it gets all right? Now this one, I go ahead and season it. You can go ahead and season with my black pepper. Well, so we're gonna season now. Add my spices and pepper. So this is black pepper. So pepper, and I'm gonna do it relatively coarse. I'm gonna do a lot. And I'm doing it here because it's easier for me to see how much pepper is actually going in versus at the end when I have all of my liquid in, it's harder to see.
I go on doing this for a long time. I'm not gonna. We'll delete all that.
And yes, my arm is hurting.
It goes on longer. All right, we're good now.
That's good for now. Okay, that's good for now. We're gonna finish up with more pepper. Next up is paprika, both smoked and unsmoked.
Mhm.
Smoked. I have cayenne pepper. I'm not gonna put a lot. I have a, wait, where is it at? I'm not gonna put a lot. So I'm just gonna do a small amount. Maybe that much. This is mostly for flavor, not actual heat. So. And now we can mix this all up. And I like to season this part because, and now we can mix this all up. And I like to season this part because you know there's a lot of fat and oil in here, which I think helps with the flavor distribution. Also, I like to cook my spices. Wake them up a little bit.
I have a feeling I'm almost done. Yep, look at that. Look at that. The filling was right. And then because I was an idiot, I didn't record. Yeah, so we're good now. So now we should be maybe, okay. It's this clip right here. This is 17 minutes. This obviously doesn't need to be long. All right, so let's switch over. Casual Economist wants to watch that video over bonds. So I'll go ahead and quit this and we'll start that up. Let me see if I have it in my history. Yes, perfect.
Hi, welcome back to Joe Blogs. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about what's happening in the Chinese economy, and specifically to talk about bonds, currency, and the stock market, because there are some very worrying things happening in China right now. And the central bank has announced that it's halted its bond buying program. And this is obviously a major concern because the whole point about government bonds is that they're backed by the government. That's why people put money into them, because they're seen as a completely safe asset. If you take out a government bond, you know that you're going to be repaid 100% by the government. However, if the bond market dies, if the central bank stops buying, then obviously that throws the whole market into chaos. And the bond markets at the moment globally are a really interesting place. If you're following the channel, you'll know that I recently posted a video talking about the UK, because bond yields in the UK have hit a 26-year high. And the reason for that is because everybody's selling UK bonds. There's an inverse relationship between the price of a bond and the yield, because when a bond is issued, it has a fixed coupon. So if that fixed coupon is 5% and you buy a $100 bond, you're going to be paid $5 every single year whilst you hold that bond. Now, if the price of that bond goes down, if it drops by 50%, then you're still going to get paid your $5 coupon. But at that point, because the price of the bond has fallen by 50%, your yield would actually double to 10%.
Does that make sense? Here, I'll if it doesn't, I think I can use Google Sheets for this. Oh my gosh. You know what? Fuck it. I will use, well, I think I have numbers. I'll use numbers. I don't have numbers. I removed it from my computer. Okay. Shit. I gotta log in. I hate this. That I had to log in to. Okay. Here we are. I just logged into another thing. All right. So you have a $100 bond and the yield is 5%. So every year you're going to make this times that. So this is your $5. This is money. Can I zoom in? Yeah, okay. Money. And then this is money. What he's saying is that no matter what, because when you buy the bond, it's like a 10-year, 5-year, 2-year, how many years it is. So let's just say a term, or what is it? There's an actual word that's used for this in bond terms, but I'm gonna call it a term. All right, so let's say you have a 10-year term on here. So you're gonna make basically this times 10. You're gonna make $50, right? On your $100. What he's saying is that you can sell your bond, right? It's a contract. You can sell it to whoever you want, whenever you want. And what he's saying is that the coupon is the same regardless. It doesn't matter. This will not change, right? So let's say that the prices fall, or you sell it and you can only get half of what you paid for it. So someone is buying it for half off. So we'll say that this is equal to 0.5 times that 50. You're still getting this $5, right? Because the original bond was this, but here you only pay 50. So this is actually 10% of that. So if we confirm, we'll say that this over that's 10%, right? So that's what he's saying. Hopefully that makes sense.
So that's how the inverse relationship works. When the price of bonds go down, yield goes up. And if the price of bonds go up, then the yield goes down. And in the UK, the reason why the yields have gone up is because...
And he's saying the price of bonds, right? My interpretation is that you buy your bond from the government and you turn around and sell it on the secondary market for less than you paid for it. That doesn't mean that you've lost money, because you may have had it for a while and you've been getting, interest and all that kind of stuff. You may not get your original principal back, but you still get half of it back plus all the interest that you've earned.
Because everybody's selling, everyone's concerned about what's happening in the UK economy, and so lots of fund managers are exiting from UK bonds, pushing the price down, because simple demand and supply theory tells you that when people are selling, the price goes down.
So that's what you should maybe think about right there. So if holding a bond is guaranteed money, right, and you're getting a fixed return, why would you sell it? Right? Other people are probably going to ask that. So if you're willing to sell it, why should I pay the same price that you pay for it? That's kind of where we're at. Now, obviously, there are other reasons why you may need to sell. Like you actually may be forced to sell for other reasons. But yeah.
Therefore, the yield goes up. But let's have a look at what's been happening in China.
Oh.
This chart shows the yield on Chinese government 30-year bonds over the past 5 years.
Let me make sure I like this.
What you can see here is a very clear trend. In November 2020, the yield on...
I see here, we do see a very strong trend. This is from around 2020. So this must be after they reopened. This is probably when they closed. We see a little bit of a ramp up. And then since then, steady downward trajectory. And oh my God. Oh, sheesh. I don't mean to laugh. It's not great, but we went from 4. That's almost a 50% drop.
Chinese government bonds was sitting at 3.94%. However, since that time, we have seen a consistent and steady fall in the yield. And
yeah, this is yeah. This is very consistent. This is for 4 years straight. Or I guess 3 years. It'll be 4 years at the end of this year.
the current level is sitting at 1.9%. And as we've just discussed, there is an inverse relationship between the yield and the price of a bond. So the fact that the yield on Chinese bonds has been falling over the past 4 years means that the price has been rising. And that indicates that demand for Chinese bonds has been increasing over the past 4 years. Now, instinctively, you might be surprised that the demand for Chinese bonds has been increasing in the past 4 years, because I've been talking about the economy being in difficulty for the last 3 years or so. So it's counterintuitive to think that people would want to buy bonds in China when the economy is in decline. However, the bond market in China is very different to the rest of the world because
they are very different. And just without getting into detail, I once was considering investing, like not in capital, going and buying a factory and all that. Not in that. I was contemplating investing in some of the stocks for some of their companies on their exchange, and I was told by a Chinese person who works in finance, who worked over there. He was like, "No, the numbers, you can't trust the numbers. Don't invest." So I didn't.
Access to Chinese government bonds is restricted. This table shows the breakdown of Chinese government bonds.
Let's read this. 3 different investable markets for Chinese bond. There's onshore RMB bond market. This is renminbi. Market size is 15.5 trillion. Second largest bond market globally. Well, sure. The offshore RMB bond market is 17 billion. Yeah, that's not much compared to the 15 trillion, whatever. Offshore USD bond market, so China, 608 billion. And they make up 50% of the overall US dollar bond market in Asia. So that's all of Asia, which I am imagining includes all of Asia. Here, let's look at them. Let's look at a globe right quick, so we can understand where Asia is on a sphere. Okay, see this giant landmass? All of this, you see all that? All of this, all that shit right there, that's all Asia. So all of, I wish I can draw. Can I annotate on here? Add path. Huh. All right, well, we're going to try to add a path. So here, okay, wait, how does this work? Okay, so we'll do that, and then technically this is all part of the Asian continental shelf, all that stuff up here. And then we come way, okay, all right, yeah, we come way up here. And then we come over here. This is getting hard to do. It's not playing nice. Anyway, hopefully y'all get the point. It's all of this shit. All of this is Asia. All right. So that includes India. That includes all of West Asia, which, if you're American, you call it the Middle East. It's West Asia. That includes, well, South Asia is all of this. You call it India, Sri Lanka, and gosh, what's the other place right here? Like all of this, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand. And then you have West Asia. I'm sorry, not West Asia. You have East Asia, which is China gets grouped into that. Japan, Taiwan, Korea. And then you have Russia, all Asian. And that's a lot of different places. I think that's like 3 billion people or so, 2.5, 3 billion people. And what they're saying is 50% of the overall bond is held by China. That's what we're getting at. Dominated by rates bonds from governments and policy. Okay, dominated by rates bonds. Bonds from government and policy banks, mostly corporate issuers. And this is the offshore stuff, predominantly corporate issuers. So same for us, denominated and traded in the onshore currency, CNY. I guess that's Chinese yuan. And then denominated and traded in offshore currency, Chinese. I don't know what CNH is. Mostly, so okay. Oh my, okay. This used to be the Hong Kong dollar. I guess they've changed it now that they have taken control over Hong Kong.
Just split.
Mostly traded in Hong Kong, also known as the dump sum bond market. And this is accessed by international investors. Restricted access previously prevented many foreign investors from buying and selling onshore bonds, but regulatory reforms opened China's capital markets. It was during that time when I was considering, and I was like told no. Gives non-mainland China investors a way to invest in RMB denominated stocks. Chinese companies can issue USD and RMB denominated bonds. The USD bond market is more liquid and well traded. Yeah, of course. Today, foreign participation in the onshore RMB bond market is expected to continue increasing as it finds favor with the international investors. I think that's smoke. They own some good shit if they think that's going to happen. Market cap have been shrinking, as has the importance for investors seeking exposure. Yeah. And you look at their stock market, their companies, it's not doing well.
Into 3 distinct markets. By far the biggest of these 3 markets is the onshore bond market that are denominated in Chinese yuan.
So their own citizens.
And you can see that the total size of this market is the equivalent of 15.5 trillion US dollars. And this market is predominantly focused on Chinese buyers. The vast majority of overseas fund managers are not able to buy into this market. The second biggest market for Chinese government bonds is the offshore US dollar denominated bond market. And you can see that the total size of this market is around $600 billion, which is over 26 times smaller than the amount of bonds that are issued in China in Chinese yuan. And the third and smallest of all of the markets is the offshore bond market denominated in Chinese yuan, which equates to around 17 billion US dollars. So the reason why the market for Chinese government...
And just so that we're clear, there is this term that's been floating around by a bunch of YouTube folks who, BRICS. When I look at numbers like that, I'm just like, okay. Also, when the economist who came up with it, he didn't use that word to describe it as a great, like this. It was something else entirely. It's been taking on a new meaning lately.
And bonds is very different to the rest of the world is because the vast majority of the holders and the buyers are based in China. These are Chinese financial institutions who are buying lots and lots of Chinese bonds. And for those businesses, there's really only 2 options in terms of investing their money. Either they're investing into government bonds or they're investing into the stock market. So let's have a look at what's been happening
or
to
real
the
estate.
Chinese
That's
stock
actually
markets.
most of their market.
This
real
chart
estate.
shows the movement in the Chinese Composite Stock Market Index, which covers over 500 of the
Yeah, so this is the one I was looking at, the Shanghai Stock Exchange. Also the Hong Kong, they have their own exchange as well. So this is a composite index. Do we see any cyclical things? Yeah, we do. There's some cyclical nature here. I am going to assume that every drop is in around the month of January. So let's confirm if that's somewhat true. Here, that's obviously not the case. I mean, we did see a slump here. This could be the first quarter. I'm not sure, but it didn't hold here. But here, drops. Here, it didn't. So I wonder what. Actually, I don't wonder. Actually, I know what was going on in this one. But here we see it drops again. Typically, it's supposed to drop every like in around January, and it's just due to the holiday. They have a big holiday during that period of time where a lot of things close.
largest companies in China over the past 5 years. And what this shows is that the index hit a peak of 3,700 in September 2021. However, in the 3-year period through to September 2024, the index saw consistent falls. There were periods when the index bounced back up. You can see that there are sharp movements all the way along this chart, and they represent periods when the Chinese authorities instigated stimulus
That's why I'm using air quotes. I'm like, I know what was going on.
measures to try to boost the economy and boost the stock market. But as you can see, every single one of those resulted in a short-term gain and then long-term falls in the value of the index. Now, if you've been following the channel, you'll know that in September last year, the Chinese authorities announced one of the biggest stimulus packages that it had ever published. And this resulted in a stock market run. There was an increase of around 30% in
I
share
remember.
pricing.
There are a few Chinese language creators who I follow. And then there are Chinese who are from mainland Chinese who no longer live in China, but they keep an eye out on China. Unfortunately, it's in Chinese. I don't speak the language that well, but I know enough to be able to, I can get through it slowly. And this is one of the things that they were talking about. A bunch of people got shafted during this. So, the run up was happening for like a week or two, I believe. So a lot of people got this false idea or this false hope that they can make a quick buck. So people were putting their life savings into the stock market, and then going to their friends and asking their friends for money, and then investing all of that. And then like a week later, that balance goes to zero. Of course, it's not on the news because, reasons. And of course, it's not really talked about because, why would people here care, right? But I care because we're all interconnected. So if things go south there, it can have effects here in the short term, especially when you consider that we can't produce anything in our country anymore. Not we can't, but we don't. How about that? I want to be fair.
There was a feeding frenzy. However, that was relatively short-lived. And as you can see from this graphic, the market is currently on the...
Actually, you know what? I want to see if I can find... we're not gonna go to these people for reasons. But maybe I can find China stock market crash last year. Oh, it made it on our... Oh, wow. Hold on. Is this it? Oh, no. Okay. I'm like, wait. Wait, this is it? This isn't it. Yeah, this isn't it. I wonder if I'm going to be able to find it this way. Let me do CNA. Maybe they... Make sure. Okay. Man, I go through this every time. It's not CNA, is it? It's something is CA. Oh, it is CNA. Okay. All right, cool. Let's look at East Asia. And actually, we could just do search stocks. Shenzhen index. Oh, we'll just do Shenzhen. Maybe it'll find something. Global single time report. One day I will, honestly, I would need somebody to help with this. If someone wants to help with putting shows together and like keeping notes and all that kind of stuff so I can quickly do these things, let me know. I don't think I'm going to find it right now. Singapore, China, no, Chinese, TSC. I wonder if I could put stock in here. Can I do that? Category, market, Huh. I don't see it. Maybe business, I guess. This was a few months ago, so like 3-4 months ago. China hedge funds caught out by abrupt market surge. So this was the surge, and then after this, it was a not surge, the opposite of a surge. I was hoping we would see graphs. I like graphs. I like pictures. You know, I'm not that smart. I like to just look at pictures, but we can read. Let's see here. Chinese index futures typically trade at a lower price than stock indexes that are linked to a shortage of tools. Yeah. The perpetual discount turned overnight into a premium, then below the hedge funds. The spread, futures online benchmark shot 142 points because 9 years. The blowout nullified hedge funds hedging strategies as futures no longer helped offset. This isn't. I'm not going to be able to show data right now, but maybe in the future, you know, with proper planning, I can do those things. I have a lot of just random stuff, but I don't really talk about this stuff to anyone because I've learned that no one gives a shit.
Verge of entering a bear market.
Oh yeah, appreciate
bear
it.
Market.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. You should still be here. Hopefully, I almost banned you. My bad. I was trying to scroll, and all right, I wasn't trying to. But yeah, I'm down. If you we'll have to figure something out how it'll work. But you know, we have the Discord, there's voice channels, we can figure stuff out. So maybe we talk about stuff and you're like, oh yeah, we should talk about this live. I'll be down for that. But yeah, let's look at this. So China index is supposed to enter bear market. I love how there's a line that's like, this is a bear market, but I'm pretty sure it's based off of a percentage. It's not looking great. We see here, you know, we're going down. We see some what do you call that word? Stimulus. We have some stimulus, and then we go down. Then we had that big rush, and this is where a bunch of people got screwed. Oh my gosh. People were, I won't say what they were doing, but let's just say that they were removing themselves from the gene pool.
It is classified as when stocks fall by more.
I would actually be surprised if I can find information on it still locally, because, you know, maybe I don't know. Our government, or not our government, but a lot of the, well, maybe, yeah, the government, a lot of our corporations are also complicit in this. So, you know, a lot of the information isn't available easily. You can still get to it. You just have to have different ways of getting to it, sources, essentially. People who live in those areas.
More than 20%. And you can see that since the high that was achieved at the start of November, we are very close to a 20% fall.
Jeez.
And if the market does get classified as being in bear status, that tends to result in more sellers. People become very cautious if they know that a bear market has been called, and that can become self-fulfilling. As more people sell shares, share prices fall, and so the bear market starts to take hold. And we are on the verge of that happening right now. But if we jump back to the 5-year chart, the long-term decline in share prices in China is one of the reasons why fund managers have been buying bonds, which has been pushing the yields down. This chart shows the movements in the exchange rate between the US dollar and the Chinese yuan over the past 12 months. And what this shows is that since the end of September, there has been a sharp fall in the value of the yuan. And the current level that the currency is trading at is the lowest that's...
Let's see. See where we're at right now. So we want the Chinese yuan, renminbi to the dollar. We'll do it this way. Wait, what? Okay, we just want to see what $100 is. How about that? That's a nice round number. Okay, so $100. So it's about 7.32. So $100 will get you 732 yuan, renminbi. Do y'all want to see some renminbi? I have some. I collect currencies from everywhere I go. So I have a bunch of currency in other lands. So I have renminbi. Not saying that I have it because I think it's going to be worth anything. I just have it because, you know, same way I have what is it, the Vietnamese dong, whatever, however you say it, and the Malaysian ringgit, I don't even know what you call it. I don't know what it's called, but I have a lot of different ones. It's not good. Let's see if we can look at a chart, see how things have been progressing. Yeah, let's do that chart. Ooh, that's not good. Huh. Yeah, that's yeah. What this is showing, and I don't know if y'all are used to reading these types of things, but let me zoom in right here. What this is showing is their currency is worth less over time, because it's USD to Chinese yuan or yuan. So as this goes up, this is the yuan devaluing relative to the dollar, right? Or another way of saying it is, before $1 would get you 7.01 renminbi, now it'll get you 7.33 renminbi. How much money do you try to keep from other countries, like one of each bill? Not quite. I normally just get $500 of my, like, whatever, just 500 of my dollars is, not just get $500 and not just pocket it. So whatever it turns into. Now, there are certain currencies that $500 is just too much, like the Naira. I don't have $500 worth of that. I would have to have a freaking moving van to have $500 in Naira. Guys, what is it? I have Rwandan francs. No way I could have $500 of that, because it would be too much. So there are certain things. So if the value of it relative to mine is just too much, I'll do like 100. But the lowest I've ever done is like 50. I'm trying to think what country that was in. I don't remember the country, but I just remember that was the lowest amount that I did, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is it would be way too much. I normally would give some away too. It's not like I'm getting it because I have faith in their currency. That's not the reason. I just think it's cool to have different currencies. Stronger dollar is bad for U.S. exports. It indeed it is. That's the weird thing about living in a corporation. It's that it's bad for business. So yeah. It's not great for business. But at the same time, it could be worse. China's going through deflation right now, just FYI. They've been going through deflation for the past 3 years. The producer prices have been falling substantially. Now it's great. I mean, it seems great on surface, like to you. You're like, not to you personally, but like to us, to consumer, on the consumer side, it's great because your things are cheaper. But you got to think past just your stuff being cheaper. If your stuff is cheaper, what incentive does the producer have to keep making the thing? Not much. And when they got a business, then all of a sudden you don't have your things. And then it starts to devolve into everyone becomes poor because, wealth is essentially what people want. It's the things that people want. So if you're not producing, you're getting less wealthy. Hence America. We don't really produce much. So Americans, just the general population, are getting more and more poor.
Been seen at any point in the past 12 months. And once again, this is an interesting phenomenon because usually when bond prices are rising, that means that there is demand for those bonds, and usually the currency also appreciates in value. But because
I think China controls their currency. Haven't they been devaluing their currency for the past 30 years or longer? Because it's the same situation from them as well. A stronger yuan is bad for the exports, and for them, that's death. Because as far as I understand, their entire economy is exports and foreign investment, aka American. It's the West pouring money. It's foreign investment. It's most of their money, and then exports. And then the other market that they have, real estate, it's like, yeah, they have real estate, but it's only available to Chinese. And it's also only available to Chinese who live in a certain, like who can buy houses in certain places, because you can't just do that. So it's a problem. And I think they have enough housing units to house their entire population twice over. But let's say that, they didn't have that. Let's say they only had like 1.5 billion housing units. Who is trying to move to China? I'm not saying this because I have anything against Chinese people. It's just, I'm going to be real. Their culture is not inviting to others. So if you have an insular culture, there is no way that you're going to attract other people to come and save you, especially after you've been spouting off about how, the West is going to be met with however many 1,000 pounds of iron, steel, and the Chinese, whatever they did for their centennial. Like, it's just, yeah. Yeah. And then you also got to think about the soft power that they have, which is none. Just think about who are the people in that region who are the hegemons in soft power. You have Korea, with their K-pop, they're exporting their culture out, their movies, their shows, all of that, their makeup, their beauty product, all of that. Korea is known for that. They're known for that in that region of the earth. And also in the West now. Then you have Japan. They have immense soft power because of a lot of their products. They make the best car on earth. They have one of the largest auto companies. Like they have a lot of soft power. What does China export other than cheap products? Not to say that, again, nothing against it. It's just these other players, they have a little more to offer the rest of the world and what they want. So it's much more likely that if they were to hit the fan, which Korea is going through it right now, it's much more likely that they will have support. They can always turn tourism on. People actually want to go there. China's been open. They actually have a new 10-day visa where you can just kind of go there and hang around, tourist visa, whatever. Their airport is empty AF. I've seen pictures of it. I'm just like, wait, is it open? Is this actually a 25 million person city airport that's empty? I don't know. I don't think so. Apple. Oh yeah, Apple. Well, Apple they've been moving some of their production out of there. And here's the other thing. They assemble the products in Apple. The most important components are not made there. They're made in places like Taiwan, or even if they are made in China, it's still like Taiwan. Like, they're semiconductors. And I don't know if they do that there in China though. Actually, I don't know. I don't know that one for sure. I've only met a few people who work in that industry. And ironically, all of the people who I know who work in that industry live in Asia. I've met them in Thailand, Singapore, and Korea. Obviously Taiwan, but we'll ignore that for now. So I've met people who work in the industry. Those would be the people who I should talk to more if I wanted to really, really learn how all that kind of stuff fits together and how it works.
We've got this situation in China whereby the vast majority of all of the bond purchasers are located in China. It isn't a global market, which means that there isn't a corresponding demand for yuan, and that's one of the reasons why the yuan hasn't been appreciating in value. And the reason why the yuan has actually been falling is because of what's going on in the Chinese economy. The fall in the value of the yuan represents the ongoing decline of the Chinese economy. So what's the summary and conclusion today? Well, I wanted to post this video because I think the news that the Chinese central bank has stopped buying Chinese government bonds is a really big news, because this doesn't normally happen in a normal market.
Yes. Think about it this way. If the central bank of that nation is unwilling to purchase your debt, why would anyone else?
And the reason why the Chinese central bank has cited is because they're saying there is now a shortage of bonds in China. And the reason why there's a shortage is because Chinese financial institutions are desperate to put their money into a safe haven. They don't want to be investing into the stock market because the stock market over the past 4 years has been crashing. Now, we saw that there's been a bounce back over the past few months as a result of the fact that the Chinese authorities announced another stimulus package. But when you look at the history, when you look at what's happened following all of those other stimulus packages, there is a short-lived bounce and then the market starts to come down again. And we are starting to see that happen right now. I showed you the graphic that shows that the market is currently sitting on the brink of being an official bear market. And if that bear market is called, then we will see share prices starting to tumble in China over the next few months. And as we've discussed in today's video, what's happening in China is very different to what's happening around the rest of the world because we are seeing bonds being sold. Fund managers are exiting from bonds because they're worried about what's going on in the global economy. A lot of economies are sitting at a turning point. We could see a sharp recession at some point during 2025. And I think Donald Trump taking over as US president is causing major concerns because he's running around saying to everybody that he's going to increase their tariffs. And if he does that, then that's going to have a massive impact on global trade, will reduce the amount of profit that companies around the world are making, and could result in a fall in profitability and a fall in the economies of all of those different countries. So there's a lot of uncertainty right now. But in China, the opposite is going on because Chinese fund managers are panicking about what's happening in the economy. The economy is continuing to slow down. We've got major concerns about whether or not China will hit its 5% growth target for 2025. And if it doesn't, then that means that the share prices of Chinese companies are like...
I forgot what they said their growth target was. CCP 2025 growth target. This is Made in China initiative is one of the big initiatives they were going for. It might be, I think they do their stuff like every 3 years. Yeah, 5%. Okay, yeah. It's around that. I don't know what it is exactly, but I remember 5 being in there, which is lower than what it used to be, what they used to project.
To keep coming down. Fund managers don't want to put their money into the stock market if it's going to tumble, and so they're desperate to take on more and more Chinese government bonds because they know that the Chinese authorities will pay them back. They're guaranteed to get their capital, so there's no risk to that. But the problem we've got right now is that Chinese bonds are in short supply. Everybody wants to buy them, and therefore yields are at a very low level. And that is totally different to what's happening around the rest of the world. And the reason why...
And again, I'll show... okay, I deleted it. All right, well... Oh my gosh. Come on, no. Right here. So when he says the yield, he's referring to this right here, yield. And we'll calculate this as basically as this over that. Wait, what did I just do? Oh, okay, I forgot. Okay, so you're getting $5. Okay, my bad. All right, tripping. Right, so let's say, for instance, the price of this bond goes up 50%. Well, your yield is going to go down because you're still getting the same $5. So if you pay $150 for this, you see now your yield, I don't understand why. Oh, okay, I did this just half of that. Yeah, you see here, your yield goes down. That's what he's getting at.
All of this is happening is because the Chinese economy is still in a very dire situation. And the overall summary of today's video is that the reason why all of these things are happening in China is because the Chinese economy is still struggling. It's getting worse. We're seeing more and more data coming out that tell us that the economy is slowing down. And if Donald Trump does apply more tariffs against China, that's likely to have a further detrimental impact. And overall, China is now sitting at a turning point. This could be the start of a major slump starting in 2025. Now, hopefully you found today.
Here's my prediction. Before I even give my prediction, I think it may be important to watch some things. These are things I have these conversations with people personally. I normally don't do this publicly, mainly because I don't know if America. I know we're currently a dying society. There's no question about that. The question for me is, what is the timeline to where it really hits the fan? Because I don't know that, I'm not trying to talk about certain things, because let's say that one of our rivals, one of our competitors, I don't see China as an enemy. I see them as more of a competitor. I won't say who I think our enemies really are, not publicly, not right now at least. But if things go south here, I need to make sure that these other places that don't have the same type of government or values that I have, that I'm not getting in the way of that. It's a long way of saying I don't want no problems with China. That's really it. But that said, let's look at their China CCP centennial was it 2022, I think? 1940, 20, or was it 23? Hundreds, okay. Hundreds. Yeah, it was 22. Okay, all right. So let's listen to his, well, let me find a English version of his speech. I don't even trust the English version because who translates it? All right, I'll do this 100th anniversary. I watched the speech when he was giving it. Okay, let's see here if I can find it. It gets a little weird because, it's hard to trust things.
伟大光荣正确的中国共产党万岁！
I love how they just have to put that in there, despite none of them wore masks. That's because it's all BS. All right, let's go to where he speaks. But hold on, I want to show something else. Let's see, Mao Zedong. I want you to pay attention to that right there. Okay, all right, and then, Okay, all right, there's another thing. Mao Zedong. Xiao Huang Shu. Did I not spell something? Oh, Hong Shu. That's not the shoe I'm looking for. Oh, haha. If I can spell correctly. Xiao Hong Shu. There we go. All right. This little thing right here. Well, someone else has one too. This is Xi Jinping. Thought. school people are required to have this book, just like in this one here. This one was required too. And then, look, the same. All right. Anyway, let's keep going.
实现了第一个100年奋斗目标，在中华大地上全面建成了小康社会，历史性的解决了绝对贫困问题。我们要全面准
So
确
remember,
贯彻
Hong Kong was basically taken, annexed by Britain, during the Opium Wars. And Macau, I believe, was the Dutch, if I'm not mistaken, or was it Portuguese? One of them, Portuguese or Dutch, I forget. One of the other European powers. And this was during also that same time. Americans were also there too, in Shanghai, which there's some history behind, who was the party in Shanghai. I believe it was KMT or whatever. Like, I don't know these things. I don't know the name, so keep in mind, like, it's different language and all that. But I think it was KMT, which, when they lost the Civil War, fled to Taiwan. So the ROC is in Taiwan, ROC, Republic of Taiwan, and then we have CCP, Chinese Communist Party China. They're still technically at war with one another. America still backs the party that, went over to Taiwan, can't we? That. There's some, basically there is a plan to reunify. CCP, they're like, nah, we can't have Taiwan. And this is my concern. If their bond market is going to shit, that means their currency is going to shit. They're already experiencing deflation. There's high unemployment, and I can show that later if y'all really want to see it. There's high unemployment right now. And then you got these tariffs that are being talked about. They already have stated that it's their goal to reunify with Taiwan by 2030. It's currently 2025. What's the one thing that makes well, it's not just one thing, but there's a few things. But if things are bad at home, the best way that you can distract people is with a war somewhere else. That's my concern, is that this can lead to conflict.
一国两制 落实特别行政区维护
I know who this is. I don't remember her name, but she's like the CEO of Hong Kong or something like that. I don't know what you call them. CEO Hong Kong. Chief executive. Yeah. So it was her. She got moved aside. Let's see if they show the previous. Yeah, here she is. Okay. Yeah. Carrie Lam. Okay, yeah. So she was the one who was around during the, I think they call it the Umbrella Revolution, which is shortly after China kind of took control. They started clamping down. She is pro, it says it literally. It says it. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we'll go on.
加安全的法律制度和执行机制。 维护国家主权、安全、发展利益，维护特别行政区社会大局稳定，保持香港、澳门长。
The special, what he just said, the special administrative regions? Think of that as a SEZ. It's a special economic zone. Another way of saying that is it's a place where the laws of the land don't necessarily apply in that particular place. There are a few of those within China and around the world.
为大局稳定，保持香港、澳门长期繁荣稳定，解决台湾问题。
Resolving the Taiwan issue and realizing the country's reunification. What is the Taiwan issue? I went to Taiwan because I was like, I want to go before, I had an opportunity to go to Ukraine. I'll just say that. And then the opportunity removed itself. So I'm like, I'm not going to let that happen again. So I'm like, let me go on ahead and go to Taiwan while I have the opportunity, just in case.
实现祖国完全统一，使中
Wait, I'm going to listen to this because I don't trust the translation anymore.
实现祖国完全统一，使
So make China, Taiwan one country.
中国共产党矢志不渝的历史任务。
I don't know what Renwu means. Is that what
中
you
国共
said?
产党矢志
Actually, let's see if we can put subtitles in Chinese. Nope. Of course not. Why would they do that?
不渝的历史任务。
Li Shi Wenwu. Li Shi sounds familiar. Li Shi, is that policy? Politic? Gosh. What I have a dictionary. Li Wu. Is that economics? Li Wu. I forgot what Li Wu means. Wait. Li Wu. I don't think that's it. Yeah, it can't be this. It can't be this tone. All right, I don't know what that word means, what you just said. Look at this. The party was founded in July 25 by a small group of radical intellectuals. Isn't it crazy how most of the worst shit is always the intellectuals? Oh, whoa. Did they just skip over? Okay, all right.
昂首阔步
I'm like, he said a lot more than just this. It was a whole like hour and a half, 2 hour thing.
人民将在自己选择的道
Okay.
路上昂首阔步走下去，把中国发展进步的命运牢牢掌握在自己手中。
I wonder if they're going to censor out the other thing he said.
绝不允许任何外来
Okay,
势力
here we are. Chinese people will never allow any foreign forces.
欺负、压迫、奴役我们。谁妄想这样干，必将在14
That right there. I don't know if it's a good idea to be challenging, that IMF, People who challenge it have a funny habit of not being here for that long. And their countries suffer for it too. But who knows? Maybe they will be the first. I have a conspiracy theory that the reason why things like TikTok is being banned is because they can't exert control over it.
多以中国人民用血肉铸成的钢铁长城面前，
I think this is a lie. I don't think that China has 1.4 billion people. I don't even think there are 1.4 billion Chinese people on Earth, let alone in China. I think they have fewer than 1 billion people. Just saying. Right now, the thinking is that they have 5 times or a little over 5 times the population of the United States. I don't believe that. I think it's closer to 2.5 to 3 times the population of the United States.
碰得头破血流。
That was an edit. Okay. Well, They didn't say all the other stuff, but that's okay. You get the gist. There's a gist for you. All right, let's see what's going on over there right now. So, or do I want to see? Do I want to just go back to working on my video? Yeah, I guess I'll go back to working on my video. Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoy whatever that was that we just did. A little brief aside into other things. Get rid of that. I gotta offload footage from my camera as well. Not this footage. I went to the taco place for lunch. I'm realizing that I can probably cut up a lot of this too. Yeah, definitely. This wasn't done. I'll come back to that later though.
Agitating this to get all of that out, and once it runs clear is when I'm good, as well as get rid of most of the moisture or most of the water. All right, do that.
See, this is why it's so long. It's really just I had it recording the whole time.
All right, so we're gonna do this is a tablespoon of unsalted butter. Just throw it in.
This is saying 16 minutes, but I think when I get rid of, how long is this clip? It doesn't say how long the clip is, does it? Oh, a minute. Okay, so that's a minute long clip. This is 50 seconds. This is a minute. Yeah, so yeah, it's not gonna be this long. And I think I said this video should be in the 15-minute range. It may be 20. Oops. This looks like a clip I don't need. This could also be a clip I don't need. Yeah. I thought I deleted all of my accidental clips. Anyway. I've been here for an hour and a half. I think my first stream was 2 hours. So it's 3.5 hours. I can only talk to myself for too long. So I'm going to go. And I'm going to continue editing my video. I'm going to just, chill in peace. But yeah, hopefully y'all enjoy some of this. If you do, leave a comment, thumbs up, whatever. Let me know you want to see this type of stuff more, and I can start doing it more. But otherwise, in the meantime, have a good rest of the evening, good rest of the weekend. I guess it's evening too. Yeah, have a good evening, good weekend, and I will maybe be around tomorrow. We'll see. I'll probably be around on Monday for sure though. So yeah, have a good one.